Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Real FERM podcast. Thank you so much for joining me tonight in my time, today, whatever time it is for you, day, week, month, year, in the future, in the past somehow. I appreciate you tuning in. We're going to this is a full Florida-filled episode. No science involved in this one. We're going back to another time. Only because a certain thing popped up in the news involving a rapper by the name of Julio Foolio. Amazing name, by the way. Rest in peace. Florida native, Florida man, and as a fellow Florida man of a completely different culture. But I feel as he met his demise in the city of Tampa, in which I am most closely associated with major city-wise in this state, and being the Florida man I am, and some other Florida stuff, we're going to get into it. And shout out to the Florida Panthers for winning the Stanley Cup. No correlation there, but except for the Florida. It's all about Florida tonight. Let's get into it. Julio Foolio. A man I had not heard of. Maybe I've heard of him in passing in the past years, but I can't honestly say I was aware of him. I don't mean that as a slight or a disrespect to his legacy or anything, but I received his name before my eyes through the news feeds because of the Florida location and because of the news algorithms knowing that I'm interested in music and musical celebrities and whatnot. Is he? Yeah, he's a musical celebrity. Sure, he's in the mainstream news, and he's had some significant success in the music industry. So I've seen his name, then that he has unfortunately perished. So we will start off, first of all, by saying there is no ill will or wishing bad upon the dead. Rest in peace, Julio Foolio. One of the best names. I kind of wish I had known about him earlier, because it honestly one of the funniest in a good way name of a rapper that has gotten notoriety I've ever heard of. Julio Foolio. I mean, it's fantastic. Hailing from Jacksonville, Florida, so not the area that I come from, but he did pass away in the area that I come from, unfortunately. So we'll talk about that. It's sad, but it is what it is. This stuff happens. When you get involved in this life from an early age, rap about it, get into feuds with rival gangs, and publish publicly all of your goings-on and celebrations for your birthday to your ops, as they are called, short for opponents or opposition, if you happen to not be from the Gen Z and below generation. I think ops is past, is more in my generation and up in the street culture more, but it's bled into the general younger generation of all races and creeds and cultures. I wasn't familiar with the term until a couple of years ago, to be quite honest. But yeah, so we'll talk about Julio Foolio. But before we get in, and we're going to end it with another Florida man, a fun Florida man not that Julio Foolio is amazingly fun. His death is not fun at all. It's very sad and unfortunate and tragic, and a horrible stain on the hip-hop trend that's always been this slowly going away, but the hip-hop, you know how it goes. The hip-hop people, some of them, they're in the gang culture and they make it out with the music career, and they don't let go of the gang culture, and you end up getting shot and killed. We've seen this many times throughout the decades. It's sad that it's still happening, and that's one of the topics I'm going to touch upon. But what I was saying is the Florida man of the week is a lighthearted Florida man. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay? Now, before we get into the tragic and the fun Florida men, let's talk about what just happened in the time that I'm recording this. The heroic elite athlete Florida men, the Florida Panthers. Congratulations. Their first Stanley Cup, the NHL Florida Panthers. Now, let's be clear. Florida, the Tampa Bay Lightning, which is the team that I am most closely associated with, 100% transparency, haven't been into the NHL until the last year, but ever since I was interested, I've become quite fascinated with the sport, and Tampa Bay has won the Stanley Cup 3 times, but Florida Panthers have not won yet. Until tonight, they won against the Edmonton Oilers. Shout out to them. Florida men for the win. First Stanley Cup for the Florida Panthers, and almost shut out the Edmonton Oilers. They put up a good fight. It was a great series. It's unfortunate though, because a Canadian team has not won the Stanley Cup since the year I was born, 31 years ago in 1993, and the Edmonton Oilers were close to breaking that 31-year curse, but maybe next year the Canadians will come back. Until then, Florida prevails. My prediction, bet on it now. I don't know what the odds are for the next Stanley Cup. Tampa Bay Lightning, Stanley Cup 2025. It's got to be at least plus 3,000. Maybe, I don't know, something, whatever. Anyway, it's a full Florida episode. We're celebrating Florida tonight. But the main part of this discussion is not really a celebration. It's more of a commentary on a very unfortunate tragedy. So Julio Foolio, a Jacksonville native, born June 21st, 1998. So he just turned 26. My lucky number, if you didn't know. And I don't know what that means, but I've just figured I'd put that out there. I'm right off the bat, I don't, as I've explained previously, I didn't know much about him before this unfortunate tragedy happened. I did do a sort of a dive into the history and the events that went down, so I'm not completely ignorant, but I am pretty ignorant to his entire career. Excuse me for the edit. We're back. I got a little caught up in my mind. Julio Foolio got a little, to be honest, emotional about the whole situation, and I got scrambled in my brains. But I'm back. What I was trying to say is, I'm ignorant of the events in specificity, but I have come to understand a general overview. So I apologize in advance if I'm not getting everything right. But to my understanding, his history is riddled with gang violence and association and a rivalry with Youngin Ace, another rapper of the same area. And so he goes to, he rents an Airbnb in Tampa, and for a celebration of his 26th birthday, posts it on Instagram, and then like blasts the address to everyone, tells, or whoever, I don't know exactly, but it seemed like he posted stories or something to his followers showing to say, show up to the address, excuse me, and come on over, yada yada. So he's putting it out there where he is. And keep in mind, if you don't know, he has a long-standing beef with gang ops, as I defined previously, with what seems to be Young and Ace. Now, I don't know if it's confirmed or whatever that the assailants, we'll say, alleged assailants, were of the tribe of Young and Ace. I honestly, I'm really confused. I watched like 3 different videos, read some articles. I got the impression that Young and Ace was like in the air. I don't know. Maybe I'm just tripping up. The YouTube videos, documentaries, YouTube news type of channels were convoluted. And then I started reading the comments, and then they started convoluting me even more. I'm just here to comment on the philosophy of hip-hop, but I'm trying to string together the events. But I think Young and Ace was maybe involved. I don't know. The point is, I don't know for sure. All I know is he had a beef with him. He's rapped about over people's graves, what I've heard, and which is insane. Just dark, violent stuff. So it's kind of like you had it coming, but you don't have it coming. Nobody should have it coming, but at the same time, you're in this lifestyle and you're rapping about it, and you're going to such extent as rapping over someone's grave and then referring to murdered people in the woods or something. There's a lot of grim details that I honestly just didn't want to get into, but this is the topic I wanted to cover. So here we are. It's sad. It's a sad thing for music to me, because hip hop is not a genre that I grew up with. I came to admire it and enjoy it in my mid to late 20s, and just like every genre that I didn't like when I was under the age of 24, or I don't know when I started liking all music, but you have barriers, and then you open your mind, so what I'm saying is, I'm not a hip hop like fan from the start, but since hip hop is music, and it is a part of musical history, and it has made a huge impact on music, especially in the modern era, although it's starting to peter out due to severe supersaturation of the market. It's sad because, especially in the wake of the Kendrick and Lamar, Jesus Christ. This is a rough episode, I'm sorry, but bear with me. Drake and Kendrick Lamar feud. And I remember I did the episode in the backseat of my car with Rockstar Life, and we were talking about that beef, and I was saying this type of stuff ends up in people getting shot, right? And just because I was thinking of the Tupac and Biggie and all the other things that happen in hip hop beef history. Ooh, bones are cracking in the early eras. And even recent XXXTentacion, and who's also a Florida man. Lots of Florida rappers dying. It's unfortunate. But so it's just weird that this keeps happening. I every time I see this type of thing and hear this type of thing, I think surely this has to be the last hip-hop beef gang involved death that happens, because it can't keep happening. Like, when is this gonna end? It's putting a stain on the hip-hop community label, but at the same time, it's always been embedded in the art form. And when it comes to art and lyrics, I'm very liberal in accepting. Talk about whatever you want to talk about, say whatever you want to say, in the same way that a comedian makes jokes, saying outlandish stuff to make you laugh, saying real stuff to make you feel. I get it. I totally get it. But when it leads to death and murder and shootings, it's not cool. That nobody should want that. Nobody should strive towards that. Nobody should get themselves into that. So I hope this is the last one, but I have a feeling it's not going to be. R.I.P. Julio Foolio. I just want to read a few more things. Those are just general thoughts about reaction to understanding what's happening, even though I don't fully understand it. He rented an Airbnb, then went to a hotel, and he posted everywhere on social media where he was, and people found out where he was, and he had a crew with him, and then people shot him and killed him. It's sad. It's unfortunate. Only 26, just turned 26. It sucks. And this is listen, this is my moral lesson of someone who's not been successful in the music industry as an artist, but seeing it from an outside perspective. If you come out of the hood or the, gang lifestyle and you break into success through music, that is amazing. And God bless. Shout out to Julio Foolio for pulling that off, and Young and Ace, regardless of his involvement. But once you get that success, it's upsetting to see it be broken, to be pulled down by your life that you should have left behind, because you made it out. You're getting money you're getting recognition and fame and success and money from this career that you came from this violent tribal warfare, gang violence situation, but you still embed that into your music, and it leads to this. It's just so sad. I just wish this would stop, but it's. I hope it doesn't happen again, but statistically, I would bet that it happens again. I'm going to put the odds at minus 156 that before AI takes over music, another gang-related hip-hop death will happen. You can place your bets at realferm.com. I'm just kidding. I'm not a bookie. We're going to take a quick drink break. All right. Well, let me actually read this article about exactly what happened. Several people were staying with Foolio, whose birthday was on Friday, for a weekend's worth of activities. On Saturday, the When I See You hitmaker advertised the 5 p.m. pool party on his Instagram story, saying, "If you already got the address, pull up." He followed up with a video showing himself and a group of friends drinking out of red Solo and styrofoam cups. Foolio also shared a clip of a small group of about 20 people gathered in the living room of the Airbnb while thanking them for coming to celebrate him. Hours later, he shared, "Police shut us down and kicked us out Airbnb. That's crazy work." The Ain't I rapper then explained he and his crew were headed to another party, saying, "Best birthday ever. Appreciate everybody who pulled up. We turned up till we couldn't no mo. We on the way to the show. Now y'all pull up." While Foolio didn't show himself back at the hotel, police positively identified his body and shared that 3 other unidentified victims were also injured. The other victims are in stable condition are being treated at a local hospital. So he's the only one that died and everyone else survived. That's interesting. A woman claiming to be Foolio's girlfriend took to social media to mourn his death, writing, "Y'all took my boyfriend from me. I hate y'all and I won't be the only one crying." Another person followed up, adding, "Rest in power." Reps for Foolio said they wouldn't be commenting further on his death. So, yeah, it's a little convoluted at this moment. Some people seem to claim they know the story, and I watched some videos. So what's particularly interesting, before I move on, because I feel like I've been rambling about this, and I've had a couple drinks before I started this, to be quite honest, if you didn't notice by now. I was watching this video, and here, so at 1090_Jake, this YouTube channel, end of sentence, but he is referencing 1090_Jake, who, he's advertising a post for Instagram, and then let me just play this clip of the YouTube video. This shouldn't be a copyright issue.
But to celebrate his birthday on the 21st, and would even drop the name and address of the club. The very first comment on the post would read, "That shit getting shot up."
So he puts the name and address of the club, of where he was going, and the very first comment, according to this YouTube video with the screenshot and the timestamp of 3 weeks ago. I don't know how accurate that is. Could be Photoshop, but I'm just going to assume it's true for the sake of that. Seems about right that somebody would call that out. This place about to get shot up. I mean, the writing's on the wall for this guy. It's sad. I don't think he deserved it. Definitely didn't deserve it, but he was kind of asking for it. Like I said before, if you're going to stay in that bunch of apples, rotting, violent apples, the other violent apples are going to rot you into violence and death. And I guess we'll set it at that. Otherwise, I listened to a couple of his songs. Not really my kind of thing, but I see the appeal for that culture. He does have that energy going. Unfortunately, it is gone now, which is always a tragedy. R.I.P. Julio Foolio, again, one of the greatest hip-hop names I've ever heard. Now, let's put that story to rest, as is his body. Oh my God. I'm sorry, I didn't. Jesus Christ. All right, let's get to a proper Florida man of the week. Not that Julio Foolio should really be the Florida man of the week. Honorary Florida man of the week in reverence of respect of the dead. But criminal, he was also a criminal. This is the wildest solo episode I've ever recorded. Okay, I'm just trying to justify the statement here. The still alive, lighthearted, that's the word, lighthearted Florida man of the week is a crime that was committed but is fun and no one died. And coincidentally, the last Florida man of last week shares a similar activity with this one here. Published June 24th. Fox 35. Florida man allegedly exposes himself during road rage incident, screamed and looked away in fear. So last Florida Man of the Week was a Florida man who exposed himself in front of a Daytona Beach resort, I believe, and then lit his dog on fire. This Florida man, I haven't read the full article as is tradition, so I can get a good original reaction other than the headline. But the last Florida man, yeah, he lit his dog on fire and exposed his genitals in front of a resort. This one seems to have just exposed his genitals in the middle of the road. I'm not sure. Let's read it. Leesburg, Florida. A Florida man was arrested over the weekend after he allegedly flashed a driver during a road rage incident in Lake County. James Box, 56, 5'6", was arrested and charged with exposure of sexual organs after the incident that unfolded on U.S. Highway 27 in Leesburg on Sunday afternoon, according to an arrest affidavit from the Lake County Sheriff's Office. Just after 3 p.m., deputies spoke with the other driver, who said a Kia Optima reportedly swerved around them and cut them off. The driver of that Kia Optima was later identified as Box. At one point, Box allegedly threw objects at the other driver's vehicle while screaming. Further along on U.S. Highway 27, Box, in quotes, began to charge toward the other driver before pulling his shorts down and exposing his genitals. The two victims advised... Wait, what? Quote... Two victims advised they screamed and looked away in fear when the defendant exposed himself. They advised they screamed? Sorry, I'm getting too caught up into the weird semantics of this quote. But, okay, so they screamed and looked away in fear as the defendant exposed himself. Deputies noted that this road rage incident happened on a major street during peak traffic hours. Box was arrested at his home later that afternoon after deputies saw him matching the physical description and wearing the same clothes from the alleged incident. He, however, denied being involved in any road rage incidents that day. This is the quote. They must be confused, Box said of the other driver in the reported incident. Oh my God. They must be confused. Oh, I love it. A good, genuine, surprised, unexpected laughter is one of the greatest joys of reading the Florida Man of the Week. Box was released late Sunday night after posting $1,000 bail, arrest records show. That's all we get. So, let me summarize what I have come to understand is James Box, 56, arrested during a road rage, and he swerved around somebody, and then he got out, started throwing objects at them, charged at them, pulled his dick and balls out. The victim screamed and looked away in fear, and then they went to find, I don't know exactly, it doesn't really say what happened after that, and he said they must be confused, even despite the description matching and whatnot. So, shout out to the glorious James Box, a man, as I'll show his picture. He reminds me of the lead singer of Smashing Pumpkins for some reason. Anyway, before I say anything wilder, this has been one of the wildest episodes I've recorded, just in the sense of what I've said and the direction it's gone and the looseness of it. This has not been a Real Firm podcast, I will tell you that, in the logical semantical sense of the word firm spelled with an I, it has been a real loose podcast. But it is what it is. Thank you for sticking with me. I hope you were entertained in some way. If you're still listening somehow, God bless you. Shout out to you. Alien Jesus will spread his extraterrestrial blessings upon you. Rest in peace, Julio Foolio. And shout out to the Florida Panthers winning their first Stanley Cup of their franchise. And too bad for Canada. They'll have to get next year. But as I said before, Tampa Bay will win the Stanley Cup 2025. That is my prediction. Place your bets now. Make a big profit. This has been the Real Loose Podcast. See you next time. Hit the like button, subscribe, comment, hit the rate, review, whatever. Love, peace, and love, 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 peace. No gang violence.